Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, we're taking a look at Lego set 10341, NASA Artemis Space Launch System. A really epic set, contains 3,601 pieces. And, you can just tell even from the box how awe-inspiring this build is. Really impressed with all of the detail that they've put into it. And I think it's going to be a great addition to our city. So let's take a closer look at the finished build. So as you can see, really impressive overall structure to the build. And it's one of those builds that's going to really stand out from a distance. And then when you get close, there's a whole other level of details for you to appreciate. I think this is going to be an amazing addition to our layout. As you can see, I built the launch system on a 2x2 Mills module. Did that for a couple of reasons. One, so that it would integrate nicely with our layout. I'm going to be putting this over near the bookcase display side of the layout. So this should fit in really well there. With the Mills base, I left some channels around the exterior edges at the connection points between base plates to facilitate the adding of electrical later. I think this is a set that's really calling out for some strategic lighting. I think there's a lot of things that you could do with it. So I wanted to make sure that I left that capability open and available to us later. And I'm hoping that this won't be the only build that goes into that part of the layout that is space related. Could definitely see adding at a minimum some support structures and possibly some other space vehicles or space related vehicles around the base. So I really wanted to leave things open to make it easier to plug in different modules around this as we move forward. So really happy with how that came together. I think the base should be really sturdy when it comes time to move it. I think it's going to be super heavy to move out of our build room here over to the layout, but that'll be a fun adventure that we will undertake near the end of the video. Now, diving in for a closer look, as I mentioned, there are, a lot of great things to appreciate from a distance with the model. I really love all of the colors and the various symbology and emblems on the rocket itself. Makes it stand out quite a bit against the gray support structure for the launch system. But one of the other things that I really appreciate is as you get closer here, there are so many details packed into the launch system gantry, I guess you would call it. Really impressive work on this tower. It was a lot of tedious building as I was going through and putting it together. A lot of repetition for each of the layers, but all of this tubing and, various wiring bits that run up and down the side of the launch system is just really impressive and I think adds a lot to the overall build. You can see the little entrance walkway here for the astronauts to get into the top part of the rocket there. Really impressive. And if we flip around to the other side here, you can see we've got ladders and more pipes and tubing, etc. Just really impressive. All of the detail packed into that launch tower. And then if we take a look closer to the bottom here, you can see all the little railings And I think it was cool that they chose to expose the sides of the launch area. Not something that you would normally be able to see, but just gives you, a whole bunch of other details to appreciate around the model. Love the staircases and how they tackled that. And you can see again on this side some exposed area, so you can appreciate a few of those interior details as well. Now, if we keep going around the side here, really love the NASA lettering on the side here. And you can see up on the main structure, we've got nice stickers for the NASA emblem and the United States flag there. It is worth noting that this particular piece here has the printing on it. So the NASA and the American flag there are printed on that, but most of the rest of this is stickers. So you can see the sticker for NASA, United States there. This is a sticker piece here. They did print some of the symbols and little squiggles, etc., onto the bricks, but so it's an interesting mix of stickers and printed parts. But those printed parts, obviously, I'm a big fan of the printed parts in general. I think it works really well. The stickers in this case, I think they're pretty cool, especially those NASA and, American flag stickers. So happy overall with all the details that those bring. And it was nice at least that they had some printed parts in the set. So you can see here as we go around to the side, just all the details packed into the different parts of this build. Again, really impressive, I think, to see all the pipes and tubing, etc., going up the side of the tower there. Really, really awesome work. Like I said, each of these little sub-levels was a lot of repetitious work, but adds up to an amazing model, which I think makes it worth it. And then if we come down here from this angle, again, you can see some of the different details that are packed in and around the structure. It doesn't look bad from the back, but this is definitely something to display with the rocket facing outward. Just not quite as much to appreciate from the back here. But overall, super impressed. I love the fact that the support arms here can actually lock onto the rocket and keep it stable when it's being displayed. So you don't have to worry too much about it tipping over. Really nice choice, both for realism perspective, from a realism perspective, but also just for display purposes. Adds a little strength and support to that part of the model. So really, really cool. And like I said, this is going to be going into our city layout over by the display bookcases in the corner over there. I think it'll work really well there just mainly because of its size and how much, interesting contrast they've added. It's something you'll be able to appreciate from a distance. So looking forward to putting it over there and seeing how it looks. Some more nice details on the front here. Just really cool to see all the different sort of greebly bits and piping and whatnot that they have worked into the build. Now, important to note, up here at the top, you can actually load up a payload, so a satellite in this case. I've chosen for display purposes to leave that out of the interior there. And I've got it down here at the base. I'm going to put a few pieces underneath this so it'll lock in nicely on the mills module. But I think having these two here beside the build will work out really well. It does, I guess, take away a little bit from the realism of having this in and around the city as kind of an integrated part of the city. But I think it's a trade-off that works for the, kind of displayability of the set. Cool to be able to see all the little facts here about the Space Launch System. I think the satellite, seeing it all sort of fanned out, is an interesting touch. Oh, and it's worth noting, if we can see it here, if we can get the right angle, there is printing on this part here as well, which I thought was really nice and well done. So, they did choose to do some printing in a few parts. I think it works quite well. Obviously, I think printing stuff on bricks, the more of that we get, the higher quality things are. And, just the more I like it. But, the stickers in this set for the most part weren't too bad, and they do add a lot to the overall look. Now, a nice touch that's worth noting, in the instruction manual, they've actually got a nice little front section that goes through and talks a bit about the spacecraft, the Artemis program. I'm really happy when sets include this level of sort of information, both pictorial and in words. I think it adds a lot. For example, really great to see an image like that. Drives home some of what I was mentioning, where I think it could be really cool to add some lighting around this. But, I really appreciate when sections like this are added, not only in Lego sets in particular, but, even with some of the train models. It's nice to see those real world photographs and, learn a bit about how the train car was made in the real world and how it was used. Overall, this sort of detail not only helps me understand the subject matter better, but, just like I said, gives ideas on ways to display the model in question, as well as, sort of extras that you can add in to just improve the overall sort of realism and look of the model. So really appreciate that. So talking here about the Artemis journey. Really nice stuff. Again, some great pictures. Always nice to see. More photography there. Talking about the different sort of mission milestones. Really cool to see. I'm a big fan of, space in general as well. So it's really, really fun to see all these details and to have a model like this that we can have on display in our Lego room. And here they go through and talk about each of the different components or elements of the NASA SLS. So you've got the Orion spacecraft, core stage, engine section, nozzle, solid rocket boosters, service module, crew module, and then the launch abort system. And you can see here from the image, as I mentioned, the satellite can be folded up and put inside there, which is really nice. But, overall, it's not a ton of pages, but I think it adds a lot to the set, and I really appreciate that. And like I said, in particular, I think cool to see photography like this. Helps you appreciate all the details that they packed into the build, but also gives some interesting thoughts on other additions that you could make. Like I said, in particular, that lighting I think would be really cool. So overall, really happy with the build. As I said, it was a lot repetitive. When you're going up and building that tower, there was a lot of repetitive components there. And you can see even just around the base here, all the little pieces that went into, getting all these great details. But, it was all definitely worth it, and it was really amazing to see it all come together. And I think it's going to result in a really, really impressive model for us to have on display in our Lego room. So I guess the next thing to do is just to move this over to the layout, and then we can see, where it'll fit and how it looks there. Well, as you can see, I can breathe again. It has made its way across the room safely. Not entirely sure which direction I want to have it facing. This isn't a bad direction here, but it might be nicer, I guess, if it's facing out that way. Let's take a look at it from a different angle. We can see which way might be best. Not bad that way. You can really definitely see it around the entire Lego room, something that stands out. As I mentioned, very, very noticeable. All of that, the color on the rocket, as well as, all of the greebly detail for each of the floors in the launch system there, really helps this model to pop even from a distance. And, even looks really nice from over here. Could definitely see it being useful to have it turned this way, depending on some of the other structures or items that we add around that part of the layout. But that's the nice thing about mills. It'll be really easy to adjust that as we move forward based on, what we decide to put in, whether it be support buildings or vehicles or, other builds that we think would fit with that theme. Also going to be really nice to add the power to the module. I think that having lights around the perimeter of the module, and then maybe even some strategic ones up the launch system tower there, would add a lot and would really, sort of make that pop in an interesting way when we have the lighting turned on on the layout in general. So I will be investigating that more, but overall, super happy with how this build came together. It was a lot of fun to put together. Even if some of the steps were repetitive, I think that, seeing it all come together and all the details that they've packed into the model, makes it all worthwhile. And I think it's going to be an amazing addition here in the Lego room to our layout. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.